names is a field, okay? The old way of calling things is V is a field and N is a field of a record. But when you use object-oriented terminology, then we say that V and N are members of the record class or the class called node. And then we have a subroutine called BBB. It receives two parameters. One parameter is array A, which is a pass by reference array. The other one is an I, which is passed by value. It is an integer type. And inside here we have this code here. It potentially has a recursion because we are invoking BBB from inside the BBB. And then from the outside we invoke BBB with a global variable called C, and it is used to specify A, and 0 is used to specify I. So it is about the same, or it has the same kind of feel as the tree homework assignment, which is due today. No, it was due last week. Yep. So it is. This one is actually easier because I don't want people to have to spend like an hour on one single question during the final exam. Okay. So are there any questions about the code itself? The source code is good. Okay. So we'll put it here and open up new window so that we can trace it using the other window. And then we'll open up one more to keep our eyes on the array. Just trying to get it to the right size. Okay, that's good. And from here we can just not show that. So I'm going to use this feature so we don't get distracted by the values of array C. All right, so this is the typical way I set it up, and today's lecture is, the video is also getting captured, so that means we can actually review everything that we talk about today using a whole bunch of YouTube clips. We can make it even better, just like that. All right, so we are ready to start. And let's put this over here at this corner. We start execution on line 15 because that's the only line outside of the definition of a record or a subroutine. So we start on line 15. Line 15 is going to invoke BBB, so instantly we know that we have to set up the return address or the return line number and also the parameters that we are passing to BBB. So in this case, the return line number, how do I know that we have to use a return line number in this case? It's not returning any information or returning any value. So with return line number is easier to do. And we are returning to post because line 15 is the last line of this program already. Okay, so we can fix all that later on. And then we have parameter A as well as parameter I. Parameter I, because it is passed by value, it is just 0. It is easy to deal with. Parameter A is passed by reference. And in this case, because we only have one global variable with the name of C, so we can basically pass it by, we can say also known as C. That would be sufficient. But since I'm doing it here, I always refer to the column numbers. So I would say it is also known as column C to column J, which is the better way of denoting a parameter that is passed by reference. Are there any questions at this point of how I set up the return line number and the parameters? Any questions? Stuff that we know already? So once I set up all the parameters and the return line number, we go into the subroutine, starting with line 9. And the condition of line 9 is kind of long, so I'm going to have to put more space on column A because of that. Okay, it's asking, is I less than bar A bar? Well, what is bar A bar in this case? 4, because there are 4 elements in array C, and since A is also known as C, it has the same array size. 0 is less than 4 is true, so we now have to look at the second condition. A bracket I dot B is greater than or equal to 0. Well, let's see. A is the same as C, so we are looking at C bracket 0 dot V, which is 5. Is 5 greater than or equal to 0?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So that means both conditions are true. And what do we do when both conditions are true? What is the value of the conjunction?
True.
You know, the entire thing is true. Okay. And just need a little bit more space. Moving the wrong one. There we go. Oh. Undo.
Go down. Don't you want to grab it at the bottom?
Oh yeah, grab the wrong one. There we go. Okay, so if the condition is true, we go into the conditional statement, which in this case is line 10. Line 10 is going to print a bracket I dot v, and that will be 5. So we say print 5, and then we move on to line 11. Line 11 is a recursion. Okay, it's calling BBB again. So just like with this one, we have to set up these 3 columns. For the template, you can copy and paste, but it's usually better not to copy and paste the content of those columns. What is the return line number in this case? What is the line that is logically following line 11 in this case?
13.
Line 13, not 12. Okay, line 13 is logically following line 11. Okay, and A is still the same because we are passing a parameter that is passed by reference to me, also by reference to somebody else. The only part that is different is I. So what should I pass as I? A bracket 0 dot n, so that would be 1. Okay. So now we optimize the width, and this becomes the context of the next invocation of the subroutine BBB. So that means we go back to line 10 again, and this time is it still true or not? Well, let's take a look. What is I? I is 1, and 1 is less than 4. Okay, so the first condition of the conjunction is true. The second part is a bracket I dot v is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, a bracket I dot v is 3, and 3 is greater than or equal to 0. Yep.
Line 9, not line 10.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So both conditions are true, and so the conjunction itself is true, and so we have to go into the conditional statement and continue execution on line 10. Line 10 is printing the value of the n. So in this case, the n member has a value of 3, so that's what we're going to print here. And then we move on to line 11, which means that we have to set up those columns again because we have another invocation. So if we're careful, we can copy and paste for the most part, but you have to remember to change I in this case. Okay? What am I going to use for I this time? The dot n is used for I, so in this case it is 3. So we change that to 3, just like that. And then we... Sorry?
Nothing. I was talking to myself.
Oh. Okay. So now we move back onto line 9. And we need to move this one a little bit here.